Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the virtual pain education series, Social Support and Support Groups. Today's topic, all of this brought to you by the Global Pain Association. My name is Ron Aaron Eisenberg, and I have the privilege, the pleasure, and the honor of serving as your moderator and host for these programs. We started this in early May. We continue through May and June. This is number 5 in our series, and the point is to provide information to help those who are struggling with chronic pain. In my own case, I have spent probably 30 years working in the field of communications and broadcasting and have moderated and hosted programs like this, never before dealing specifically with chronic pain. How many people have it? We're going to find out during the course of today, and we're going to hear from a very special guest. Salina Shelton will tell us everything we need to know and more about using other alternative therapies in addressing chronic pain. But first, let's welcome to our program the founder and the really genius behind the idea of a global pain association, Dr. Susan Blackwood. And Dr. Blackwood has spent a whole lot of time looking at these issues, working with them, and trying to provide the education necessary for others. But before we bring Susan on, we've got a brand new underwriter I want to welcome. River City Cardiovascular. They are a comprehensive, independent cardiology practice specializing in the diagnosis and treatment of heart, cardiovascular, and peripheral vascular disease. The doctors are all board certified cardiology physicians licensed in Texas to treat all aspects of cardiac-related illnesses. The practice has 5 locations serving downtown, southeast, San Antonio Southwest, and Olmos Park. And the newest office is in Westover Hills. There are satellite offices in Floresville, Pleasanton, Pearsall, and Jordanton. And you can learn more about our new underwriter at www.rccvsa.com. And we welcome them aboard and thank them for stepping up to the plate. And now it's an opportunity to bring up to the plate really the person who was the driving force behind the creation of the Global Pain Association, Dr. Susan Blackwood, who is known not only here in San Antonio, but around the country and really around the world as someone who has spent a lot of time on athletes, physical education, therapy, and has brought not only the Final Four to San Antonio, but a whole lot more through the Sports Foundation. Let's welcome Dr. Susan Blackwood. Susan?
For moderating this exciting series, and to the Eisenberg Group for producing this. Without you and Gina being involved, we would have never been able to kick anything like this off after we had to postpone our May 9th seminar and turned it into this virtual series. So thank you so much. And thanks to the River City Cardiovascular Group. We're just thrilled to have them as part of our support group, people that have cared about patients. They've been on the front line throughout this whole pandemic issue, and now are here helping us bring this message to chronic pain patients and their caregivers. We're trying to be a resource in the community for those that need alternative ways to manage their pain. And today's a perfect example of how we're bringing that communication to people in our community.
And Susan, one of the things that is always interesting to me, this is one of those organizations that makes such good sense. Millions of people with chronic pain. Why wasn't there a Global Pain Association before?
Well, I think, quite honestly, each pain specialist, doctors, etc., have really taken it upon themselves to provide the kind of resources to their patients. But it made so much sense to create a community where those patients can share their stories, their testimonials, and we can provide more resources through the internet and through web series like this.
And if folks want to get involved, they can do so how?
Well, they can write us at info@globalpain.org with any questions or interests that they have. And if they'd like to get involved as a sponsor of this virtual series so that we can keep it going, they can go to globalpain.org/get-involved/donations, and we'd be happy to take their support.
And you're not looking for any particular number. If they want to give you $1.5 million, that's great, but $10 works as well.
Any donation is going to help us keep the series going. Absolutely.
I want to take just a quick moment to talk about the board, because you've attracted to the Global Pain Association board some really incredibly talented people dealing in a variety of ways with chronic pain. How did you line them up?
And I might say they're all volunteers, including myself. And so it's just been amazing to see these kind of people with the dedication and understanding that they have and trying to get the word out and to help people through these chronic pain sessions.
Well, I want to thank you, Susan. We'll come back to you in just a few moments, but we want to take a moment now to introduce our special presenter today. Social support and support groups is the focus for today, and Salina Shelton is our specialist. She is an art therapist. She is an LPC, a licensed professional counselor. You can find her at www.cprcst.org. Salina specializes in chronic pain. She's been doing it since 2013. She's a board member of the Global Pain Association and the Chronic Pain Resource Center. And one of the things that is true, Salina, of so many folks like yourself who struggle with chronic pain, you don't have a sign on your forehead that says, ouch, I hurt.
It's often an invisible illness, absolutely. And I'm happy to be talking about isolation today because that is an invisible part of having a chronic illness.
When you say isolation, what do you mean?
Isolation is being separate from others, and it can be either physical or emotional. Thank you. The slides I have here just give a couple of definitions. When we talk about social support, we're really talking about having those people to turn to in times of need. It can be friends or family, but it can also be peers, like our coworkers, or, maybe we have a hobby group that we're a part of. These are all social support. And when we experience isolation, it's being separated from other people, and that could be friends or family too. It could be a lot of different things.
A colleague I work with in a variety of capacities, Dr. Jamie Heisman, often says, don't isolate. It is really the death knell for many. And yet, Salina, you know very well what an odd time we're living in, because we're telling people, isolate, isolate. And yet, for those struggling with chronic pain, it really can be a death knell.
Yeah.
How do they balance that?
It's really interesting. When COVID and social distancing first began, people with chronic pain were kind of like, welcome to my world. This is what my life is like normally. I always social distance, but not because of choice, because of physical limitations. So now that the world is beginning to reemerge and things are getting back to normal, people with chronic pain are finding that they are still, stuck at home doing things like that. When social distancing began, we took a lot of things online, and so that we could continue to build those relationships and maintain them.
In fact, this kind of program, as well as Zoom and Google Meeting, FaceTime, all are made to provide the kind of help people can use when they are indeed engaging in social distancing. If we can bring that next slide up, that would be very helpful, because it deals with the issues that we're talking about. And you touched on how folks with chronic pain self-isolate. If you could expand on that, please.
Yeah, with chronic pain, people don't set out to isolate or to withdraw socially. It comes about from many things that contribute to it. Feeling misunderstood. Our friends and family, they have the greatest of intentions, but if they haven't lived with chronic pain, it is a very difficult thing to understand. And feeling misunderstood, or even worse, judged, can lead to feelings of feeling separate and isolated, living in a world that just other people don't get. Fear avoidance is what happens when people with pain kind of stop using their bodies to do things. I can't go for a walk with you because it's going to hurt. If you go down this list, people with chronic pain can probably check off yes, yes, yes. People don't have just one of these symptoms. They will experience many or all of them. Being unemployed, transportation, financial struggles, those are all definitely a part of living with chronic pain. Feeling unable to keep up when the family goes to Fiesta, Texas, feeling like you're burdening them, that can contribute to isolation. And then if you turn down enough invitations because your pain is bad, people stop inviting you out. So all of these things compound to create a very isolating quality of life.
And yet, part of your job, Salina, as a therapist, is to get people out of that mold, to get them involved, to get them connected, and to look for other ways beyond prescription drugs to deal with chronic pain. So, what's in your magic toolbox?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I want to talk just a moment about why this social support is important. There's actually a lot of chemical and neurological things that happen when we engage socially. We have better physical health. It lowers our risk of dementia, and we have that sense of belonging. We also develop what's called a sense of autonomy, our ability to control our life and the world around us. And that sense of autonomy can contribute to increased self-esteem. It improves our ability to cope, and it actually lowers our blood pressure.
And all of those coming together and deal in ways with pain, that OxyContin, that all those various types of heavy duty prescription painkillers really don't touch. They mask the pain.
Yeah.
They don't cure the pain, right?
Exactly. When we socialize, we are developing new networks in our brain. Our brain is releasing positive chemicals that help our bodies to cope with and diminish the experience of pain. Is it going to take your pain away? Probably not. It is going to help you get through it and eventually rebuild the quality of life. You had asked about how people combat that isolation. Support groups are one way. Practicing self-care, volunteering, taking a class. There's so many great ideas for how to be social. And in this time, there's a lot of virtual ways to be social.
And as you take a look at some of the tools in that toolbox, well, one are support groups. Now, ordinarily, in the old days, like 3 months ago, people got together in a room, they participated in a support group. There was a moderator or facilitator, perhaps a licensed therapist like yourself, and that seemed to work pretty well. That format has changed.
Yeah.
Do the support groups still work?
They do, and it's been very exciting because with chronic pain, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you really just don't know what roll of the dice you're going to get. You may have a very bad pain day. It may be one where you can actually get some things done. So having our groups go virtually has allowed us to reach a lot more people. More people have been able to engage, whereas maybe they weren't able to drive at night or not able to drive altogether. They're able to commit to the time and show up and give and receive support.
You're doing it interactively like we're talking now?
Absolutely. It is very interactive. With our groups, I will bring a topic for discussion. It could be, we talk about nutrition, sleep, all sorts of anything that impacts chronic pain, finances, health, doctor's visits. We talk about those things, but it is a very positive group. And that's a point I want to make. Social support is important. We may have people who are there for us, but it's got to be positive to help us move in the right direction and release all those good chemicals that I was talking about earlier.
Talk to me a little bit about how COVID-19 has affected your practice and your business, because none of what you were built on was necessarily interactive telemedicine.
Right. I'm actually an art therapist, so it's been interesting taking art therapy virtually. It does require just a little bit of prep work beforehand, making sure everybody's got the same notes, same page. We're all starting at the same game plan. But it's been really effective. And actually, some people have found it more comfortable. More people are able to express themselves. They feel more comfortable expressing themselves because they're in their comfortable space.
Now, we've got about a minute or so left. What haven't we asked you about social support and support groups that can be helpful? And if folks want to get a hold of you later, they can go to that website that's under your name right on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. It's cprcst.org. And, I guess I'll also let you know that we do have one-on-one counseling available. We have graduate interns who are available if a support group is not where you're ready to begin, but you really do need some backup. We have interns available at no charge.
I was going to say, when you have an intern, they're working on required hours for licensing. They're all experienced. They've all been trained. And what they're trying to do is get up to speed so they can go out on their own.
Right.
and you benefit from that as a patient, right?
Absolutely. And I like to see it as you're not getting just the intern, because that intern has the supervisor. So you're getting two therapists for the price of one, because that intern consults and receives guidance from their supervisor.
What got you beyond your chronic pain?
Art and yoga were the magic pill for me, but I honor and I recognize that everybody's got a different magic pill. For somebody else, it might be going for long walks in nature. That's their magic pill. I still have chronic pain. Last week was a big flare week for me, but it doesn't rule my life the way that it used to. I'm able to do things like this. I'm able to help people, and I have a beautiful quality of life that I'm really proud of.
Well, Salina Shelton, thank you so much for talking with us. And thanks for being on the board at the Global Pain Association.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
having me. You too.
Salina Shelton, if you want to get a hold of her, you have all the information on your screen, and we certainly hope that you took a moment to write that down. Now, you've been watching the series, in this case, Social Support and Support Groups, part of our virtual chronic pain education series brought to you by the Global Pain Association. A reminder, we're here every Saturday through May and June, noon Central Time. And if you'd like to learn more about the Global Pain Association, or you've got questions for us, all you have to do is go to info@globalpain.org. And we'd like to welcome today a brand new underwriter, our friends at River City Cardiovascular, providing patient-centered care. They are a comprehensive, independent cardiology practice specializing in the diagnosis and treatment of heart, cardiovascular, and peripheral vascular disease. The doctors are all board-certified cardiology physicians licensed in Texas to treat all aspects of cardiology and related illnesses. The practice has 5 locations serving downtown Southeast San Antonio, Southwest San Antonio, Alamos Park, and the newest office in Westover Hills. They are satellite offices in Floresville, Pleasanton, Pearsall, and Jordanton. And you can learn more by going to that website you see on your screen, rccvsa.com. Now let's bring back the founder of the Global Pain Association, a young woman who indeed has worked with many folks who struggle with chronic pain. Dr. Susan Blackwood is back. And I want to talk a little bit, Susan, about how the GPA, Global Pain Association, reaches out in addition to this series of educational programs. What else do you do to help people with pain?
Bringing in some of these top experts like we've got on the virtual series. And it was very well received last year. Unfortunately, we're not able to have it this spring like we had planned. But reaching people through our website and having doctors, caring physicians recommend people to come to us as a resource has been one way that we've been able to get the word out. We've got wonderful board members, just like Salina that everybody met today. And I've met some of the physicians at the River City Cardiovascular centers. And again, such well-meaning, dedicated, unbelievable people that are supporting things like we're doing today.
In fact, our special guest next week has already been on, Dr. Penn Wickersham, who is an incredibly smart, but speaks in layman terms, provider who is able to break down so we can understand some of the basics of not only chronic pain, but treatment. And next week here on the Virtual Pain Education Series, he will be talking about CBD, that new oil that's out there, almost like nail salons being sold on every street corner in San Antonio. What is it that works? What doesn't work? Is it marijuana? Is it merely an extract? We'll find out more about it. And he'll talk as well about ketamine, which is a prescriptive drug used in the animal world that is now being experimented in the human world. New therapy updates next week. And Susan, how do you figure out what kind of programs to bring to people as you look down the road?
Well, actually, we after we had our seminar last September, we asked our attendees what topics they were interested in having us cover in 2020. And overwhelmingly, they enjoyed everything that we did in September, but really has some great suggestions, which we're covering in this series in May and June.
And what do your board members say about the direction you're going in?
Well, it's a small board, and many of them have served in capacity of being host on these shows during these last several weeks. But they're very excited about seeing if we can get the kind of underwriting and sponsorships that we need to keep series like this going. As Salina mentioned, sometimes chronic pain patients get up in the morning and they can't attend an in-person event. And so having something like this to rely on, I think, is really important. We want to be a resource in the community and in Central and South Texas, and maybe even the United States and the world.
Now, in addition to the website, there's a Facebook page, and these programs will be posted there for folks who want to take a look at them. Is that right?
Absolutely, on our website and on Facebook. And so we encourage them to stay tuned for future ones. But if they missed any of the series or they just want to go back and hear one of these sensational presentations again, it's going to be there forever.
What haven't I asked you want to add before we say goodbye to you?
Well, again, I want to thank you and Gina, the Eisenberg Group. You're terrific at what you do. So such great experts. And then again, now that we've got some underwriting from people like the River City Cardiovascular Group, we're really excited about how this can extend farther into the community and offer more resources.
Dr. Susan Blackwood, thank you very much. A reminder, coming up next week, board member Dr. Pendleton Wickersham will be discussing CBD and ketamine new therapy updates. We want you to join us every Saturday throughout the month of June, and who knows, maybe beyond. Stay tuned for that. You can catch us too on Facebook and see these programs again. On behalf of the Global Pain Association, a thank you to Salina Shelton. I'm Ron Aaron Eisenberg. Talk with you soon right here for the Global Pain Association. Have a great weekend, everybody.